part of helping a couple people come free after 33 and 21 years and raising the level of noise that we need to make on the planet, including your show and the Human Solutions. We need to be louder than the dark media.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. So tell us about this movie.
My movie began 3 years ago when I was talking to Sharon Whitson at HempFest. Okay, Sharon is the beautiful soul, along with Vivian, who started HempFest 20 years ago in Seattle, the largest gathering for hemp-related 420-ness on the planet. And I'm so blessed that on my birthday, she said, I'm sponsoring 2 lifers, Jeffrey. And I said, what's a lifer? Okay. To this day, I talk to cannabis people and I say, my movie is about lifers in prison for pot. And they go, there's still people in prison for pot? And I say, yes, 3 strikes, you're in. And so when Sharon 3 years ago on my birthday told me this, that she was sponsoring Jeff Mazansky and one other prisoner, I started crying. And I said, I'm going to dedicate the rest of my days to photographing, to raising the awareness, and getting louder through film and media the fact that this is still wrong. It's always been wrong. And I want to help to change things. I have helped to change things, and I'm learning so much.
Well, I couldn't agree more. I've had the good fortune, I suppose, to spend some time with Sharon. And I think it was either 3 or 4 years ago I was out there. I can't remember. But we were involved with her sponsoring those inmates. Jeff Mazansky and Jimmy Romans. And I think she was sponsoring George Martorano too. And 2 of the 3 have been released. And
without a doubt, yeah.
And Sharon's an amazing woman. I have worked with her, when we volunteered at the Seattle Hemp Fest, we actually ran one of their booths, and it was quite an experience. But I've run into Sharon at a number of other events in other places as well, and Vivian as well. Vivian's a great guy, and it's inspiring to see people that are walking the walk. And I find all the time when I'm talking to people, especially here in California, where it's been 20 years since we passed, more than 20 years, 22 years since we passed our first medical law. And, people just have always sort of not understood what that's all about. And people always say to me, well, weed's legal. And, that's just such an ignorant statement, because the idea of something being legal doesn't even embrace the whole picture. A lot of things are legal if they're done in a certain way, in a certain number, in a certain, whatever. You can align all these little dots, but if they're not done in that specific way, then they're illegal. And if they're illegal and they decide to go after you, you can lose your money, you can lose your property, you can lose your freedom, you can lose your job, you can lose your kids, you can lose your life. We have one of our members, Dolores Halbin, her husband died as a result of a cannabis case. And Kristen Floor's dad died in federal prison.
She's in my film.
Yeah. So, and this is all, that whole scenario with Montana cannabis, that was legal. It was all legal. Yeah. How'd that work out? No, it's not the answer. We gotta end this. We gotta end it once and for all, and it's gotta be reckoned. It's gotta be reckoned with.
Well, you asked me to describe my film. My film is a 6-part episodic series. We're pining for a few different things with my film. The 6-part series to go to Netflix or Amazon or Hulu to have the series funded and raise the awareness about the medical aspects, about the industrial aspects, about the medicinal aspects, and about the nutritional aspects and the PTSD aspects of this beautiful plant that grows everywhere and anywhere, for us to not decriminalize it, but as we heard at the Drug Policy Alliance in Atlanta at their conference a year and a half ago, we heard that we need to re-legalize pot, because when our prisoners come home, they will, if we re-legalize it and ultimately decriminalize, re-legalize, and end prohibition, then they will be able to get work. Because when Jeff came out, he was still on parole and he still had a record. And so people don't want to hire you if you got a record, but you're not a criminal. For all I know, Jeff Mazansky was in, I do know Jeff Mazansky was in for 2.5 grams in an envelope, and that's less than a joint for his third strikes for 21 years, for God's sakes. So this gentleman was not a raper. He was not a murderer. Murder 2 gets 13, 14 years. Murder 1 gets 20, and he got life. And so the balance has got to happen. And through film, my film and my episodic adventure, we'll talk about the families. We'll go interview families. We've already interviewed some inmates and prisoners, and we've talked to the leapers, which are the policemen that have flipped, and they had one time thought that drug lords and people that took drugs were bad people, and now they don't think that. And so we've interviewed them. We want to expose through film and our film series and raise the money and get Bill Maher, get Snoop Willie and Melissa Etheridge and Woody Harrelson on board so we can kick the ass out of our government and just end it so they can tax the heck out of us and balance the budget.
Well, I agree with a lot of that, but here's something that I want to consider. And I'm a dreamer. I don't mind dreaming big. I don't mind dreaming all the way to the end. And I have to wonder. Now, let's say that you had a genie that gave you 3 wishes, and you were really smart, and you took the first 2 wishes to lock in that third wish, that it was actually going to be a real wish and nothing was going to go bad. And you thought to yourself, I got one shot at this, and this is the thing that's important to me, and I want to make it right. I want to make it the right as can be. I got all the power in the universe to cause my world, my paradigm, this universe to be the way I want it to be. Now, if that was the case, and you had all this power, and there was no consequence that was going to come back and bite you in the ass, would you choose to be taxed to grow a plant? And would you choose to say this is okay and that's not okay? Or would you rather choose to say, I don't know, why can't it just be a plant? Why can't it just act like all the other plants? I'm just asking, what do you think? If you had all that power and all that freedom and liberty to take, what would you choose?
If I was king, I would have all plants on the planet free and a choice to use. The most dangerous things of anything on the planet, including Everclear and plutonium, should be coveted and should be very, very watched. But yes, you're correct totally that we should not be taxed for marijuana, but because there's an issue, my theory of slowly and speedily getting it taken care of is that, Monsanto's going to have bell bottoms and a green Marlboro hat on the Marlboro Man one of these days, and he's going to have a green toxic cigarette that they're going to make with crap inside the paper. And so I don't believe in that, but because it's coming, it means that instead of us keep going on the black market, or being rainbow about it, which is okay because I do believe you're correct that no plant should ever be taxed. But because alcohol is taxed, there's a certain paradigm that is not working in the states that want to mimic alcohol taxing. But there's a way that we can have one initiative across America that allows us to just get our prisoners home and just get hemp fabric and hemp toilet paper made on the planet. We need to stop cutting trees for paper, and we need to stop using concrete. We need to have hempcrete. So any way that I can see to get it, I'm okay with being taxed on it for the time being. Okay, and I just think that's an easy way to not pull any wool over the government's eyes, but to follow a little bit of the alcohol paradigm, which seems to be working. Even though alcohol is less safe than cannabis, it's still something that's legal. You can go to a bar, you can get yourself drunk, and not take a taxi home, and if you're lucky, not get pulled over. So I want a green Uber and a place to go smoke out, and the green Uber takes you home, and you pick your car up tomorrow.
Well, I agree with anything that gets us closer to our goals, and I'm gonna be the voice of, I don't know, the voice of the dream. I'm going to continue to be the voice of the dream, and I think that if we can wake people up, this is about awareness, I think, more than anything. And I think if people can answer that question that I just posed and give me a reason why not, as any reason other than, well, like you say, it's coming and we can't stop it, so we got to do something. And I understand completely your rationale. And I'm being a bit of devil's advocate here because it's just my nature, and hell, it's a radio show. It makes for good conversation. But the truth is though, I think, what do you think would happen if enough people started seeing this vision? If we started to create this dream in our minds, that's where everything starts. Everything that has ever been built, everything that's ever been created, every song that's been written, every poem that's been written, everything that's ever been done started out as a thought. And I have to think that if we're busy thinking about taxes, and if we're busy thinking about ways to appease our oppressors, rather than, why not think about our utopia? Why not think about that thing that would work for us without taking, here's the thing, and I get into mild conversations with people about a lot of things because I don't take a political stance as to my own specific, political bent, other than I'm more or less a libertarian and I'm more or less against, the government oppressing us. I have to say, in most things, if you're completely right wing, there's a place where conservatism can collapse. And if you're completely left wing, there's a place where liberalism can collapse, because something has to hold it up, right? There's always got to be, somebody's got to pay for whatever it is you need, right? And so that's why, these extreme ideologies really can't work, or I don't know, maybe they could, but they don't seem to work, because there's always that tragic flaw. However, this is different because this doesn't require anything from anybody. The genetics are out there, the seeds are out there, the water's out there, the soil's out there, the ability for people to grow their own medicine and do as they see fit with it is out there, and it wouldn't take anything away from anybody if it was to happen. If it was to just today, here's all they would have to do, Jeff, and it's the craziest thing. People don't realize it. You look at how many laws are on the book today, right? In the criminal code, in the health and safety code, in the civil code, all of these laws, right? We have 600 and some legislators out there on the federal level and thousands on the state level whose job it is to make laws. We got all these people making laws all day long, right? And all we would need to do is pass one single law that took a line and wrote it through the word marijuana on the Controlled Substances Act. Just take it off. And that would fix it all. Be done. It'd be over. We wouldn't have to have hundreds of pages regulating and deciding and figuring out. All you'd have to do is remove it from that schedule. And that would change it all.
Well, we messed up by it becoming global and that everybody's afraid of it. For God's sake, you know, psilocybin is going to become legal in a matter of weeks in Oregon State. And so things are turning. There is hope. And through radio shows like yourself and passionate people, the dream will happen. It is happening. It's not happening too slow. It's happening pretty much on schedule. We got rid of Jeff Sessions, and the dude behind him's pretty dark also. But we just have to let them see that we're not going to back down, and that we're never going to get violent. We're stoners, you know. Love, you know. So that's not our nature. Our nature is not to make the movie called Star Wars. And when did you see Yoda? He was gone for 20 freaking years, and he was the most magical, beautiful being in Star Wars. So the magic has to come back to Mary Poppins, which they just made, I saw, and it was a beautiful movie. The original was beautiful too. It was not any Heckle and Jekyll. Nobody was beating each other up. It wasn't Bugs Bunny and the Silly Rabbit getting shot in the fucking cannonball ass and chasing after humans in cartoons. It was, the fact of the matter is, I just saw Mary Poppins, and it was beautiful. We have to stay connected to spirit, to the earth, and to the reason God put all these plants here, from ibogaine, from ayahuasca, to everything that you can imagine. You know, I was with Fantuzzi and you know, and I was with a bunch of LA people at Timothy Leary's house during a campaign where Bruce Margolin was running for office, and it was just such a beautiful time. Jack Herrera was alive, and we were playing music at Timothy Leary's house, you know, in the back room, you know, with a lot of beautiful, incredible plants, you know, and not just 420 marijuana, cannabis. It was just so beautiful to have the freedom to freak. And once that's back, once Oregon is the first state to recognize psilocybin for PTSD, then the pharmas won't go away, but we'll have less radiation and chemo for the alternative, for the option when you have brain tumors and cancer. We want a cannabis hospital so we can know. And I talked to Patch Adams at the country fair this summer, and I said, give me a couple beds in your new hospital and have a specific doctor to let me know what strain and how much for what I have. We don't have any more medicinal shops in Washington. They got rid of them because of greed, and there's no place to go to get information of what strain to use for prostate, brain, or epilepsy. And so,
what did he have to say?
To end this prohibition.
What did he have to say? I've never met him, but I saw a speech that he did, and it moved me deeply, and I always wanted to meet him. What did he have to say about that?
What did Timothy Leary?
No, Patch Adams. Patch Adams.
Patch Adams said that he's building a 16-bed hospital right now because they closed his other hospital down. He's building a 16-bed hospital, everybody. That's going to be free. You can come and get better.
Where at?
Or you can get, I'm not sure if it's in California or Arizona. I'm not sure where he is exactly, but I was with him. And anybody that wants to talk to Patch Adams, call his website number. He doesn't own a cell phone. He will call you back.
No kidding. I'm going to look that up.
The bottom line is that the gods have lost all my Oregon Country Fair files on one little hard drive this year, And so it's one of the first times that I've lost information. So I have to re-interview him this year, but it's okay. I love re-interviewing people. We get it better the second time. He said that he would consider a cannabis 2 beds out of his 16. I said, I wasn't greedy with him. I said, give me 2 beds. Cannabis, specific. I said, give me 2 beds, man, in the Patch Adams Hospital for cannabis, and bring on the canna nurses that are sexy, and I'm old, and I get to have a canna nurse, and I get to have my medicine that is gentle and non-pharmaceutical.
Well, that sounds like a plan. I'm gonna reach out to him tonight after I get done with this show. That's I just wrote.
Call him. He'll call you back. I promise. Everybody, don't blow Patch's phone up. Everybody, stagger it a couple days, but he will get back to you. He's a gentle rainbow soul. He is phenomenal.
Well, that is fantastic. So, you know, when you and I were talking, you had some ideas. You know, you brought up reaching out to some of these celebrity folks, and we have one person in particular from Kansas who had connected with Melissa Etheridge at one time. I don't know if she's still connected. I'm going to reach out and find that out. But
the reason we want Melissa is we want to begin our CD and concert restitution fund from Lifers. It's going to be our soundtrack. And when Snoop, Willie, and Melissa get on there, it'll be huge. In the meantime, all you 420 musicians, send me a song at lifersthemovie.com or find me on Facebook, Jeff Eichen, EICHEN, and you can get involved with my CD without the superstars yet. It's going to be called A Homegrown. And all the proceeds, or the majority of the proceeds, are because we have to pay the people that are, you know, making our CD. So bottom line is we want to give every prisoner when they come home $30,000 in a trust fund for food and shelter as our gift to them for spending all those years in jail.
Well, I think that's a great idea. And, you know, we have, it's one of the elements that people don't necessarily realize. And at one point, we had a lot more prison outreach as part of our organization. But, you know, many of the people that were championing that have gone on to do their own work. And at the time when we were kind of at our peak of you know, involvement with this, we had a tentative plan to do a reentry project. And that was something that we had addressed, you know, 5 years ago. It's not just the fact that you've got people locked up, but as you mentioned, you know, once you get locked up, your life has changed forever. And even if you get, you know, your record expunged, it doesn't disappear it. And if you know, they call it the what do they call it? The check the box or something like that at the bottom of every application for a job or for financing. If you want to buy a house, or if you want to buy a car, if you want to rent something, or if you want to get, you know, any of these things, adopt a kid, or, you know, you think about anything that you need to fill out an application for, there's generally a box at the bottom of that application that says, have you ever been convicted of a felony? And even if your record gets expunged, you have to check off that box, because if you don't check off that box, your record being expunged doesn't mean it disappeared. It just means it doesn't show up in a certain way. Most of the time, anybody that is fielding applications will have plenty of people to choose from that didn't check that box. And most of the time, if you check that box, you're basically saying, nope, throw me away, because I'm not going to be accepted. And that's a big part of what we're talking about here. When we talk about reform, when we talk about, you know, justice, we talk about, you know, changing the prison system and changing the way we, you know, America houses more prisoners per capita than any other nation. And even the most oppressive nations out there don't lock up as many prisoners as we do here in the U.S. And we've got to change the way we think about that.
It's not because it's a private, involved, system and blah, 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 blah. It's we have to reteach them. We have to reteach the people in charge that the punishment should fit the crime. And we got to go back old school. We got to get rid of 3 strikes. We got to get rid of everything that doesn't mean anything. And in the meantime, through media, through concerts, one tour, we could raise $1 million, and everybody that comes home gets $30,000 for $1,000 a year for being in jail. What the hell? No pizza, no dates, no movies, no whatever for 30 years. We're going to give them the ability to get back on their feet at re-entry in a big way, And so if we get Snoop, Willie, Bill Maher, Woody Harrelson, Melissa Etheridge, I'm wearing my Johnny Cash hat tonight. We just get everybody that means something. And if we don't, my homegrown CD, which I'm starting right now, and I'm taking applications for beautiful 420 music, I want to crank that, and $1 goes to every freaking prisoner in a trust fund so they can have money when they come out.
So let me ask you, if somebody, there's a number of musicians that are and have been involved with our organization, and a long time ago, 5 or 6 years ago, we were working on a protest song album that never really got finished, but we did have a number of submissions over time. So if somebody wants to submit a song or an idea for a song or music or whatever, an artistic rendition of something, how would they do it?
They would give me their CD Baby or wherever their film is online. Their songs are online, and I'm pretty good. I mean, I like Peter Tosh, legalize it, don't criticize it, and the new kids are singing a little harder and faster, and there's a lot of really great tunes out there, and it doesn't have to be a 420 song, but I want a song that is about freedom, and I want a song about 420, and I want a song about justice. So that's going to be in our first homegrown CD for, and they just send it to my lifersthemovie.com. You can find my email there, or you can just go on my Facebook, Jeff Eichen, or Lifers the Movie at Facebook. So Jeff Eichen is JEFFEICHEN, everybody. And otherwise, everybody can find lifersthemovie.com and find me. But we're amping that up. We're getting that ready. At 420, I want you, Joe, and I want all of us to end up at Bernie's, because Bernie Sanders has given us their restaurant to show our movie and to have a little concert and a restitution CD party on 420 in Los Angeles.
Cool. So so your movie is able to be viewed. How would somebody be able to view it?
You can go to, everybody who's listening tonight, I will give the free code to everybody. Massively watch it together. And if you have more than 3 people on a Sunday with the vegan potluck, I'll have Jeff Mazansky or myself call in to talk to you live. And that's a bonus. And he was in jail for 21 nights for pot. And he's just a sweetheart. So these are the bonuses. You go to lifersthemovie.com, everybody. That's lifers, as in lifersthemovie.com. And there'll be a link at the top. You go to Rent the Movie, and when it says rent me, it'll say enter promo code, and you put in Lifers with a capital L 420, just the numbers, Lifers 420, capital L, and you all are listening to this beautiful radio station tonight and watch it for free. Lifers 420 at lifersthemovie.com.
Excellent. And, I always like to, from any guest I have, if there's something that you are trying to accomplish, I try to target specific goals. And so we've got one goal of getting, music submitted to this album. Another goal of reaching out to these celebrities that you mentioned. If anybody has a connection to any of these guys, to be able to reach out. Is there any other specific goal that you would want to lay out to all the people listening right now?
I'm emotional when I talk about my friend Brian, who had his leg amputated on Monday, and my friend Charlie, who was cracked open with a burst aorta, who makes the most beautiful hot chilies on the planet, and he was my smoking buddy and kinetic sculpture guy, and he's in bed. And my friend who serves medicine on the Big Island is going for radiation therapy on Thursday, which is tomorrow, for 6 weeks, and he just had a brain tumor. I just want the plant to be free. That's my dream. That's my hope. And I want a cannabis hospital in the next 12 months. I want it to be realized so we can have actual place, not just a pamphlet, or yes, we need a dictionary, but we need also beautiful human beings to walk compassionately up to us when we're healing and coming back to life. I want definitely a cannabis hospital.
Well, that's you got a lot of good things going on here, and I definitely hey, that's how we do it. You dream big and you accomplish a lot. That's the way we do it. So I 100% support your dream, and in fact, I see you one and raise you one. I want to take it all the way back to before we had governing bodies telling us what the hell to do. So I am 100% your ally. I pledge the support of our 501c3 to help out in any way that we can. And I would love to, find a way to join forces even better. One of the missions that we have here with the Human Solution in 2019 is to specifically align ourselves with individuals and groups towards a certain project. So I think this would certainly qualify. I want to offer to you the use of our website to promote this project as a joint effort, that we can say, look, this is, we'll put some little thing for Human Solution members, to be a part of this in some way. But I would like it, if you could, to put together, I don't know, something that outlines what you're looking for as far as this, and we can create a page in our call to action section of our website that we can include, and it'll give you more exposure and reach out to a captive audience, if you will.
I will bring on a 1, 2, 3 for you, a hemp parade, and if everybody puts their 3 fingers up, not backwards, that's for games, but they put their 3 fingers up. Last year, I'm going to CannaCon tomorrow to meet with Andrea and Nick, the big mama and son team at CannaCon in Seattle, and I'm going to represent us there. But last year, I held up 3 fingers, and that's a W, everybody. But hold it forward, and then when you put the peace sign down, you put 1 finger. That's 3, 2, and then you put the other one down, and your middle finger's out there. You go 1. So 3 is weed, 2 is peace, and middle finger's F Schedule 1. So 3 is 1, everybody.
Right on.
Thank you so much. And I love you, Joe. We're going to totally rock this together. I call my farming. We're going to plant seeds, hemp seeds around the planet, and we're going to be soldiers in the farming.
I love it. Well, I appreciate you checking in, and I welcome you back anytime that you have an update. And if you want to send me the copy that you would want us to create a page for you, I'd be glad to get it published on our site.
That's fantastic. And what is and next time you say hello to Craig for me, because I've talked to him many times. On when the girls here in Washington had him on every week also.
Well, I will mention you to him next week when he calls in. He's called in this show every week for the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. So I will definitely.
The next person I'm working on is Michael Thompson. Everybody.
Yeah, hold. I want to talk about Michael Thompson real quick. I met with Dee Dee Kirkwood today, and I've been working with Michael Thompson for about at least 5 years. And his friend Claudia Perkins came to us back about 5 years ago, and she reached out to Tom Corby, who's our NorCal chapter coordinator and one of our Lions out there in the field. And she had sent him a whole packet about Michael's case, and Tom brought it to my attention, sent it all over to me, and I started talking to Claudia, and then eventually I started talking to Michael. And Michael just went through a pretty rough patch because he's got this relative who's a state senator, and he really thought that this guy was going to really be his ticket out. But when everything played down at the end of this last election cycle, the governor didn't give him his pardon. And, we've come to find out that things weren't the way we thought. And his nephew was more of a politician than anything. Anyways, we have a call to action, a letter writing campaign specifically.
I got a line to Neely.
Yeah, but Neely's not our answer.
We're not calling anybody out. We're gonna do the best we can, man.
No, but what I'm saying is Neely's not our answer. What we have is another route we're going. And Dee Dee has just engaged the help of a new plan, and I'm not going to lay down the specifics of it yet. But we have engaged a new plan, and we have our current letter writing campaign going to the new governor of Michigan, and our hope is to bring attention. But Neely's not our answer anymore, and we thought he was, but he's not.
Can I tell you how Jeff and George got free?
I know how George got free, but I don't know about Jeff.
I went inside the prison and filmed Jeff, and we made more noise. It wasn't me. I don't take credit for it. Jeff just, when he speaks, he says that people like Jeff Eichen and Lifers the movie made people open their eyeballs when he came into prison and he filmed us. So if we get up the nightly news, dude, with Michael Thompson, let's do it. Let's send me to Michigan. Let's send me in there, and let's get me to film him an interview. Even if I can't film him because they said no cameras in there, but I can do a recording with them. The fact of me making noise and coming in there, I'll set up other meetings and other media days while I'm there. You can come with me, and we'll just have a ball, and we'll make some noise, and the governor will hear us.
Well, I'm good with that. I think that what we need to do is sort of carve out a good plan and get the community support that we have aligned up with this. So we've got more and more people that are coming aware that there's a new governor, that we have a way to reach a person of influence, and that's not stuck in multiple terms. She's brand new, and I think we can get this done. I think we're in a right position. More and more people are becoming aware of Michael's plight, and I've made it my personal mission, or one of my personal missions, to see him to the other side. And Dee Dee's been just an angel in this, and she's taken a lot of the heavy lifting off of my plate, and she's been engaged with Michael and Claudia and the rest of the team just so diligently. She talks to Michael every day, and we're trying to be not only the hope but the way out. So I am very pleased to have you part of this team, and or to be part of this team with you. Either way, apparently we've both been doing it for a while. So Anyways,
I'm so excited that we're going to join forces and bring Michael home because you know what he's good for? Our concert tour.
Oh, hell yeah.
For the rest of the Bohab.
Exactly. All right, Jeff. Well, I've got a bunch of other guests on the line, and I'm running out of time. So I appreciate you coming aboard and telling us all about your project. And I appreciate you joining the team and being a part of the Human Solution as we are making the road to freedom, the end of prohibition, and the world where we get to, I don't know, live our lives. Wouldn't that be nice?
3, 2, 1, everybody. And I've got Mickey on my desktop here, an old Mickey Mouse watch. And guess what time he said at? 4:20.
All right, folks. Jeff Eichen, and we will be in greater contact very soon. Thank you so much, Jeff.
I'll see you, everybody, tomorrow from CanaCon in Seattle. It's a big event. If you're here with us, come down. I'm going to promote ourselves and to get some great interviews. Love you all, and thank you so much, Joe, for all you're doing.
You bet. LifeVersusTheMovie.com. Okay, folks, we've got just enough time for all the rest of the guests. Let's see. We got Creed Leffler on the line. We're going to bring him up first. And then we have Kevin from Mississippi. Kevin reached out to me through Facebook. And as much as I keep wanting to completely disengage with the cesspool of Facebook, somebody always pops in just at the last second and then ends up being somebody we want to talk to. So I have not yet completely cut it loose because it's still a beacon out there. We need to be a beacon. And then, of course, we got Tom Corby with the NorCal Report, and I think we got just enough time for it all. I think George Martorano is going to be calling in. I got to send him a little reminder, but I will do that right now. So let's start with Creed Leffler, and he's got a question for us the last I checked. Creed Leffler, welcome to the show. Well, we're gaining on it. Yeah. You broke 7,000. That's great.
Yeah. It's really good. I was wondering if I could be on the show next week through video so people can meet me.
I think you can. I think Lisa knows how to do that, and I think you know how to reach out to Lisa. So she handles the live feed on Facebook, and that would be fantastic to have you join the live stream. That would be great.
Okay. And one thing I also shared it with 14 groups I'm a part of.
Oh, that would be great. Yeah, that's part of what the key to the success.
I did this week. I did already this week.
14 groups?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I shared with 14 groups. And the page that I'm an admin of.
That is fantastic. Well, I think that's the key to our success is working together and joining forces. And, we all have our own network, and everybody when we have a platform that can get everybody's message out, like this one or other people's shows. Pete April's got a show he does, and there's a lot of great shows out there where people get to communicate and share their events and ideas and plans together. It's the way that we can take this medium of social networking and the, what do you call it, the alternative media that we are, and get it to reach the people that need and get the changes that we want to see.
Can you give me in contact with the movie guy that you just spoke with?
Yeah, it's Lisa Wooldridge. You know her. She's going to reach out to you either right now or after the show, and she'll make.
He's talking about Jeff. He wants to know how to
Jeff.
to go to the website.
Yeah, Jeff Eichen. I will Lisa will send you a link to his page, and then you can she'll send you a link to his website and his Facebook page.
I'm going to do it right now, Creed.
She's going to do it right now.
Okay.
You bet. All right, Creed, that's fantastic. I look forward to having you join us tomorrow or next week. I'm sorry, on the video feed. That'll be great. All right, we'll see you next week. Creed Leffler, folks. You can start right from the beginning of the show. It starts at 5 p.m. Pacific time, Wednesday, 5 to 7. Yep, exactly. So it'd be 8 to 10 your time.
Okay.
Excellent. We'll see you next Wednesday.
Bye.
All right. Bye. Creed Leffler, folks. All right. So now we got Kevin. And Kevin messaged me a couple of days ago. And he had a situation where he got pulled over, profiled, beat up a bit, and, charged with some stuff in a way that shouldn't have been. And people don't realize that these abuses of power that happen all the time. They happen in the Deep South. They happen on the West Coast. They happen on the East Coast. They happen whenever we let it. And what I mean by that is that we don't do anything. We don't do enough when there's an abuse of power by law enforcement or anybody in a position of power. We're not outraged enough to get enough done. And I'm not saying that there isn't some outrage, and I'm not saying there isn't people doing things. I'm saying it's still happening. It's still happening, so we're letting it happen. I want to lay this down, and I've been fairly consistent with my messaging for the past 10 years. And when I spent 6 years battling the government, I didn't blame the government. This was my problem to fix, and I brought it upon myself, and I've owned that. I let my government get to a place where it locked me up for a plant. And I can't help but wonder if we weren't to take charge of the responsibility for our own paradigm. This world we live in, it's the world we live in. We let this happen. It didn't happen to us. And it happens over generations. But we let it happen. We didn't stop it. And the government is doing what it's doing to us because we let it. And the corporations are doing what they're doing because we let them. And all the things that are going wrong in the world are going wrong in the world because we let them. And I can't help but wonder, what if we took a little responsibility for those things that need changing? I would advocate that we might accomplish more if we made it personal like that. Maybe if we saw that even just our thoughts and our visions and our intentions and our words and our ideas and our prayers and all of those things, maybe those have as much of an influence on an outcome as anything else. Maybe drifting in the wind and complaining about things and whining and bitching and moaning isn't enough. Maybe, just maybe, if collectively we started wanting to see the world the way we wanted to see it, maybe carve out a little plan to make the changes necessary. I don't know. Maybe we might have that world. You know, in Houston, a bunch of cops got shot at. 5 of them, I think. And they were serving a warrant on a drug house, they called it. And I believe that, this was a heroin operation. And they come knocking on the door with their warrant, and a couple of guys inside opened fire and shot 5 cops. Well, all I can say about that, and I'm not, I don't want to get too controversial about this thought, but the thought is, I wonder if we were to put more attention at those kind of problems and less attention at the low-hanging fruit of cannabis crimes and profiling people in cars, and actually just going out and doing police work, and actually there's plenty of cases that could be solved that already have all that they need to do it. I can't help but wonder if we might not clean up some of that violence. I don't know. I can see why they would rather go after the pot people than the junkie people and the tweaker people and all the other types of drug and violence type folks. But that doesn't make it right. We talked about this last week, that there's not a rape task force anywhere in the world. There's drug task force, and there's gang task force, and there's graffiti task force, and there's immigrant task force, and there's every other kind of task force, but there's not a rape task force anywhere in the world. I got to wonder, what if we demanded our resources, our tax dollars got spent on cleaning up this mess? I don't know. Wonder what would happen. Anyways, I got Kevin here from Mississippi, and he's going to tell us a tale of abuse. And, he's cautious about giving too much because prosecutors, could hear about this, and it's a story that might go away on its own. He might have to dig in. If he needs to dig in, he needs to be able to reach out to folks. So, Kevin, welcome to the show. I appreciate that you called in. How you doing, and how's your hands? Can you hear me? Kevin from Mississippi. I don't know what's up. We don't have a good connection, so I will see. Going once, Kevin. Going twice, Kevin.
Yo, Kevin.
All right. Well, Kevin, if you are listening, you can hang up and call back. We've got 24 minutes left of the show. But I don't know any other way to get a hold of you. So anyways, Kevin, if you're listening, just hang up and call right back, because we put you on and you were nowhere to be seen. I'll see if I can't reach out to you. So Tom Corby, I'm going to put you up next a little bit early. And George Martorano just confirmed that he's going to be calling in, but he's not in yet. So Tom, you're up, and let's see what's going on. Tom Corby, the Lion from NorCal. How's it going today?
Okay. I'm here with Frank and Ann. We're just headed to the hospital to see Donna.
How's Donna doing?
And she's doing better by the day. She thanks both of us for what we're going through, my thing with my back and hers. Thanking everybody for all the positive healing vibrations that sent our way. Bonnie caught me off guard when talking about Michael Thompson back when, 5 years ago. We were really busy then, of course. We spent at least half our time in the courtroom. And when that big package came, I never got ahead from Claudia Perkins, bless her heart. I've never seen a package like that when I sent it down to you. Pretty sad when you keep it, because he's black. The proven is he was targeted, and he's still in jail for 4.22 caliber guns that don't even fire. They're antique. So it's a sad situation. All the folks in jail for our secret plan. And I always want to thank everybody on the front line show, Lisa, Mary, Becca, on the front line, all the great talkers today coming together, joining forces, and volunteering. That means we do not get paid, folks. It's probably going to cost you. And to finally end prohibition, no one should go to jail for any plan. And that's our goal and vision, to give a solution. I'm Frank Canan here today. Without him, thankfully he's had experience in caretaking, and he's helped us so much. Frank Westman, I want to say a couple words. Hi, Joe. Hi, Liz.
Hey, Frank. How's it going?
It's going every day.
Well, I appreciate everything you're doing up there. You've been a huge help to the Corbys, which makes you a huge help to us.
Well, thank you. My pleasure. I love Tom and Donna. I'd do anything for them.
Well, we agree, and I appreciate that you've been able to do it. You've been instrumental in the good things that are coming around over there, and I'm going to try to get up there in the next month or two just to hang out for a couple of days.
Well, that'd be really great to see you. All right, Joe. And don't forget that we always take them on to trial. If more folks would take them on a trial, we wouldn't be here today. They can't do it. We always bring a 995 dismiss probable cause motion and family entrapment to vulture also. And we throw the book at them and we make them sick of that. This is why in Northern California we have very few cases left defeating. And so come and join us and help you the solution to the failed war on our sacred plan. Thank you all today. And don't forget to breathe.
Yay.
All right, Tom. Well, give a big old hug to that amazing Donna, and you guys, just a lot of healing energy heading up from down here up to you.
All right, thank you, Joe.
You bet. Tom Corby, the Lion from NorCal, and Frank Canan. All right, we got George Martirano on the line, and yeah, let's see. I reached out to Kevin. He's supposed to call back and come back. So let's see what George has to say. Now, George Martirano is he's like a brother to me, and I met George when he was languishing in federal prison, serving a life term, and he is evidence of just those things I talk about. If you think about it and you will it and you push and you keep going and you don't give up and you keep a good attitude and you just do all those right things for long enough, you can have anything you want. And George made that happen. He always had a great attitude, a prolific writer when he was locked up, a teacher, a mentor, and just a pleasure to be around in spite of the horrors of being serving a life term in federal prison. And because of his doggedness and staying with his case and never slowing down, never giving up, always looking for one more way to punch through, ultimately he did. A couple of years ago, he walked on out of there. And today, George is getting back up on his feet, and he's I'm very proud to not only consider him a brother in arms and a compatriot in this battle to bring liberty and freedom to the world, but we're brothers from another mother. We're working together on a lot of projects, and I'm excited to be part of his world. George Martorano, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Hey, Joe, how's my West Coast fans and my West Coast family out there?
We're doing fantastic.
D.P. Kirkwood and the rest of the girls. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this is 1 week today that I opened up the Hip Hemp Cafe
Woohoo!
in Philadelphia, and as soon as we opened the doors, we're doing very well, and people are coming in, and most important, that I noticed a lot of ill people coming in and wanted CBD products, and so, and we're there helping. Our staff is trained. We're not saying we can make miracles, but we're there to listen and recommend, and hopefully, you try the CBD products, but it's amazing. And I don't know if you know, Joe, that we went viral. Did you know we went viral?
I didn't know that, but I'm glad to hear it.
It's called, the program is called NowThisWeed.com, NowThisWeed, WED. Well, one of the parties from that.com, they came and they did a 3-minute film of me, just, telling a little bit about myself and the cafe. Well, we're up to, I think, almost 340,000 views.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Wow.
I didn't know that. I learned every time you do 100,000, that's viral. So we went viral 3 times, and now we're bordering on the fourth time.
I love it. You're going to be a pandemic before you know it.
Yay!
Yeah. And I'm also I'm headed to Washington, D.C. We already got that show on the road. We're going to open up the second Hip Hemp Cafe in our nation's capital. So I'm very excited down there because I want to put a spokesperson platform down there. We have to. I believe in our lifetime, we're going to definitely see cannabis drop from a Schedule 1 narcotic. But I'm praying that if I can get to the nation's capital and talk to the right people, because even if the Congress corrects the statute, if they don't use the word retroactive, that means those poor people, the guys and girls in jail for cannabis, don't get any. They don't use the word retroactive, and I don't know if everyone knows, the country of Israel's parliament ruled unanimous to export cannabis.
Yes, that's true.
So that happened 2 days ago.
Yep.
So I'm sure the president of Prime Minister of Israel is going to try to get Congress to drop it from the Schedule 1 because let's be frank, they want to sell the cannabis to America.
Of course they do.
They want to be able to export to America. So I think that things are going to be happening, that we're going to probably see it sooner than later. But if they don't use the word retroactive, that means the poor guys and girls that are in federal prison or in state prison are going to remain there. So, and I always thought about, if that happens for the worst, I'm always thinking about designing some. I know how to approach that. If they don't use the word retroactive, that means you have to go back to your judge. Now, the judge will be more receptive if it's not a Schedule 1 narcotic. The judge will be more receptive, but the motion has to be prepared in the right light. I'm going to be working on a standard motion, federal motion that I will get out to everyone languishing still languishing in prison for cannabis. But let's hope and pray they use their word retroactive.
Well, I think, part of what we need to do is we need to be beating that drum and making sure that our representatives know what we need to have happen. There's just no reason that we have anybody that's locked up for a cannabis crime when we have businesses that are in business, open. We have licensed farms and manufacturing productions and storefronts and all of this stuff. And at the very same time, we have people that are facing a lifetime behind bars without any way out unless we do something. So I totally agree. And we're not going to stop until everybody's let out. That's our commitment to this.
Well, I'm excited to get down to DC and hopefully have a Hip Cafe there. And there's a lot of organizations that know me, working good organizations to change, but they haven't been doing much because they just don't know how to address this administration in the red light. But like I said, Israel, they need to sell it. They need to export to America. I understand they have some pretty good strains there, cannabis. So this is their target, this country. So I'm sure that they're going to request the White House to change the statute, to get Congress to change the statute. I don't know how quick it would move, but I think it's headed in that direction. And like I said, without that word retroactive, four souls will still be in. So, but anyway, getting back to my Hip Cafe, I love the name. I think it's the coolest name in the country.
I do too.
And hopefully, what I like about it, bottom line, we already supplying jobs. We're already supplying opportunities to people to earn a living. And, it's a lot of hard times. We're going to be doing mail order and delivery service throughout the city, and it creates income. We already have some great people working, and they wholeheartedly believe in the world of CBDs and to help people. We have some great everything in our place is CBD infused. Everything.
I love it.
Coffees, our cheese, our cakes, our cookies, and also we have the retail products. And incidentally, Joe's going to be coming in real soon. He's attached to. He's my friend. He's attached to anything I do, but he's coming in as a consultant on a regular basis. So we have a lot of good people here waiting to talk to you, Joe.
Oh, I can't wait. A couple of weeks. I'll be up there, and I'll be bringing a nice fat package along with me.
Well, you better bring a coat and a hat.
I will bring a coat and a hat for sure. Well,
we have, you can't, forget it. It is cold.
Maybe I'll bring some of that California weather with me. What do you say about that?
Well, if you put that in the jar, I'll sell it.
I'll do my best, that's for sure. All right, George. Well, 2 weeks and a couple of days, I'll be up there.
All right. So love everybody. I'll be out there. Just give me some time. I'll be out there.
That sounds great. I look forward to it. George Martorano, folks. He's rising up and going to take over the world here. Gotta love it.
Thank you.
All right, George.
Bye, everybody.
We'll talk soon. All right, let's see what we got. We got 10 minutes left to go. Let's see if Kevin is back. Kevin, you there? Kevin, going once. Going twice. Kevin from Mississippi. Kevin Edwards. All right. Well, I tried twice. I don't know what else to do. Well, I want to talk for a moment about the Human Solution and how to be supportive. This organization has always run on the engine of volunteers and the goodwill of people. And we've never been a huge fundraising organization. Years past we did, but egos and personalities turned that into not as good of a thing as it could have been. So we do everything on a real grassroots level now. But one of the things that we have to offer is that as a nonprofit, a 501c3, we're the only nonprofit that I know of that has run an international organization with the amount of reach that we have. And there's no administration overhead. Every single member of our leadership team is a volunteer. Every project that we do is all volunteer. There's not, anybody that donates to our organization. 100% of the funds that get donated go to our printed materials, our operation of the website, anything that we do that is an organizational project. That's it. So we don't do a lot of big fundraising, but we do have a couple of fundraising opportunities. The first thing, simplest thing, is just be part of the organization. Be a member. There's a 420 membership, which we appreciate because, it's every month you kick in a cup of coffee's worth of cash and doesn't hurt you and it helps us. We run off of the 420 engine for the most part. Then we have a 630 twofer, which is a couple, two people, husband, wife, partners of any kind, join as 2 for 1. And we have a number of those memberships. And then we have sponsorships and all other types of donations. And that's available on the website, thsintl.org. The second thing is a brand new thing, and it's a Cup of Joe coffee. And there's a company that has created a coffee as a fundraiser, and it has a Cup of Joe emblem on it. And it's actually good coffee. I bought the first 2 pounds of it, and $5 of every pound is donated to the Human Solution.
Yay!
And it's good coffee, and it's a decent price, and it's a great way to do it. So on the website, THSINTL, right there on the right, you can go and buy yourself some coffee. And again, $5 out of every pound goes to the Human Solution. And then the third way is maybe even the easiest. Anybody that uses Amazon.com, Amazon.com has a feature called Smile. Smile.amazon.com is Amazon.com. So if you log in as a Smile account, what it does is some very, very small percentage of everything you buy, they donate to the charity of your choice. And guess what? The Human Solution, as a federally recognized 501c3, is on that list of charities. So if you sign up on smile.amazon.com, you can do your normal purchases just as you would. And you don't have to do anything. It doesn't cost you anything. Amazon pays a very small donation to the charity, and it's another way that you can be helpful. So, and maybe most importantly is you can donate your time. Come be part of the A-Team. Help organize in your area. Help to start a chapter. Support a local case. Help us on one of our numerous projects. This is a thing that we call the Human Solution, and I really think that that's again a very powerful statement out there in the world. And there are problems everywhere. Problems are easy to see, easy to spot, easy to smell, easy to feel. It's easy to go around talking about problems all the time, about everything. But you know what's hard? Is coming up with an answer, coming up with a solution, being positive about something, being unifying, join forces. Let's solve these problems. They're right in front of us. They're not hard to find. But let's be a part of the solution. I invite you. I welcome you. I dare you. Whatever it takes, I encourage you to be a part of the solution. So that's it. That's what I've got this week. I've actually a couple of minutes shy of the finished product, and I think you're going to get a few free minutes this week. So until next week, I appreciate everybody that's been here. I hope that you're feeling the blessings that have been bestowed upon you earlier in the show already, and if not, they will enact very soon. And let's see what Willie has to say about it.
I am Willie Nelson, and the Willie Nelson Teapot Party and I endorse the human solution, supporting cannabis prisoners because no one should go to jail for a plant. Little things I should have said and done, you were always on my mind. You were always on my mind.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
That was good.